Go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on the new features of 4D 20R4. We are delighted to welcome you today for an exciting session with Mathieu and the product team joining us today. We share with you our selection of new features and answer all your questions. So please feel free to share your questions in the Q&A box. We are here to provide you with all the information you need. And as usual, this webinar is divided into 4 parts. We will start with the new features for developers. Then we will talk about 4D Write Pro, 4D View Pro, and we will end with a focus on Qodly Studio. So let's get started with the new features for developers. And to you, Mathieu.
Hello, everyone. Thanks to join us today. And I'm glad to start with error handling with a new keyword called try. So we've been working hard to bring you an even more powerful version of 4D with this 4D 20R4. And this new feature will allow you to create even more powerful application. With 20R4, you now have access to a new useful keyword, as I said, which is called try. The try keyword allows you to execute an expression placed in parentheses and transparently intercept any error that occurs during the execution of the expression. These errors can then be processed immediately after the execution of the expression using the last error command. But what is it for? With try, you will be able to manage errors as close as possible to the code that generated them. Using try simplifies error handling when accessing a document, for example, if the document does not exist. Here, you have an example on screen. On the left, we see how this kind of error had to be handled before. Here, to prevent the display of the 4D error dialog box, an error handler had to be installed, and the error handling code had to be written in this precise error handler. With the try keyword on the right, we can now write everything in the same code section and access local variables. As you can see, this makes it much easier to read and understand. This new feature opens up many possibilities for error handling. However, it's only the second step in the new 4D error handling stack, which will pave the way for the multi-line try-catch blocks. And you will see that at the next webinar next month with 20R5. So if you're curious to see how it looks, just use our blog. You will see a very nice blog post for the try keyword. And if you're curious enough, in the most recent blog posts, you will see the try-catch block as well that you can test with R5 beta. So once again, and as usual, if you have some questions, we probably have the answers. So use the Q&A section for this. Let's now switch to the code life checker. As I mentioned in the last webinar, the code editor is and remains a central element of the 4D development environment. And today we are introducing a very nice addition, which is the code life checker. This is an algorithm used during compilation, syntax checking, and code typing in the code editor. The code life checker now helps preventing errors such as typos and logic errors. You can see this checking while you are typing or during syntax checking and compilation. It also provides you new warnings if your code appears inconsistent and generate errors if your code could cause runtime errors. But what errors are displayed and then? First, the classes, as you can see on screen. An error is generated if the name of a class used is not present in the DS, CS, or 4D class libraries. This helps avoid typos, especially those related to cases. So let's proceed next with the class functions, which are also checked. So the code life checker in this case will check several elements here. For example, a warning is displayed if a parameter declaration is made outside the function prototype. This is the example you can see here. Or if a non-existent class function is called, of course. And if the number of parameters used exceeds the number declared in the prototype. So a warning in this case will be also displayed. What else? Well, type compatibility. A type checking is now performed in several cases. An error is now displayed when assigning variables with incompatible types. This also applies to class properties, data class attributes, and data class computed attributes. Next, we have here the warning displayed when parameter types are not compatible when calling a class function. And last but not least, with other data classes, the use of unknown data classes or non-existent data classes attributes now also generate an error. This helps you avoid input errors that can lead to runtime errors. In the 4D code editor, the code life checker is automatically triggered after 1 second when you type a method and when you save a class. The 4D compiler can add errors to this error list generated by the code life checker, but unlike code life checker errors, these compilation errors will be displayed until the project is recompiled or restarted, once they have been corrected, of course. So, as a conclusion, I think the new code life checker will be very well received by all of you, by all our developers. So we are waiting for your feedbacks here on the forum or on the forum. Let's proceed, and don't forget to ask questions. We are sticking to the code topic. Normally, for the developers, had to declare method parameters a second time in a compiler method for compilation path settings, such as process and interprocess variables are typed or all variables are typed. This is the settings you see on top of the screen here. With 20R4, this additional step is now a thing of the past. Parameters declared in a tsDeclare method prototype no longer requires a redundant declaration in a compiler method. This update in 4D20R4 ensures that existing code won't be affected while increasing code safety by issuing warnings for mismatching parameters. So this improvement aims to save you time and improve code quality by avoiding runtime errors during compilation. So less work for you with this new feature. Let's proceed. Let's proceed with a very interesting topic, which is custom date and time formats. So here you have a little clip playing while I speak. So try to be attentive to both. Date and times in 4D can be displayed or printed in various ways, typically based on internal resources or system settings. While default formats are generally sufficient, specific needs may demand tailored formatting. So consider scenarios where documents are intending for destinations with different dates and time than the origin country. In such cases, default format might not align with the recipient expectations. Thus, the ability to precisely define date and time format becomes crucial. For that, 4D20R4 brings a new functionality that make customized formatting much easier. You can see it on screen. In fact, the string command, the object set format command have been updated, and they allow you to specify a precise format. And also the 4D UI have been updated accordingly. So as you can see on screen, here you have an example of a tailor-made format here, but you are completely free of the formatting you want to apply, in fact. So Before this feature, it was much harder to achieve this kind of thing. I really recommend you to check out the blog about this. You will get the complete demo here, which is really complete. And you will be able to play with different formatting and see how easy it is to code that kind of thing. So we won't wait for the end of the clip. I think it's clear enough. And we can proceed with security. Previously, Qodly Server included standard SSL and TLS certificates to secure exchanges, but mostly for testing purpose. In fact, they were included right out of the box. However, we decided to remove those SSL TLS certificates from for the 20R4. The reason is simple, and I will explain you how this functionality has been drastically enhanced. Now, when Qodly Server opens up an application requiring encrypted connections, it automatically generates a temporary SSL TLS certificate if no user-provided certificate is present in the resource folder. This is automatic, and the benefits of this approach are multiple, but just to summarize them, it's now much more simple to provision your server and your application, because you don't need to manually provide or configure certificates anymore. And the security is enhanced drastically, because we are now, the Qodly Server now generates a new certificate each time it will restart. And so this reduces risks associated with compromised certificates. So, but there's an important point to note and to keep in mind, is that Qodly Server does not generate certificates for web server. This only applies to client-server connections, of course, because web server certificates, they require to be issued by a recognized certification authority to be accepted by modern browsers. So this is a difference to have in mind, to be clear. But bottom line is that we believe this new feature will streamline the implementation of your applications while enhancing their security. And let's continue with security. Don't forget to ask questions if anything is unclear. And let's talk about ECDSA. Quite a funny acronym. As mentioned earlier, Qodly uses SSL TLS protocol to secure client-server communication and HTTP requests. For over a decade, Qodly has supported RSA, a proven encryption algorithm, but that's not all. We now also offer support for ECDSA. ECDSA stands for Elliptic Curve Digital Signature Algorithm, and it expands your security options. Why ECDSA is interesting? Well, most certificates are issued with RSA. However, the current trend is to use increasingly longer keys for security reasons. So unfortunately, longer RSA keys result in decreased performance. This is where ECDSA comes in, because this algorithm allows achieving the same level of security with much shorter keys. So this ensures optimal performance. So prepare for the future. With the increase in internet traffic and the growing demand for longer keys, ECDSA is set to gradually replace RSA. By implementing ECDSA support in 20R4 now, you are guaranteed to stay at the forefront of security and performance. That's what we had to say about it. And for more details, ask questions or check out the blog. And let's continue with the Gmail API with Qodly Kit. So If you remember our last webinar with our 3, I introduced commands to retrieve a list of labels, extract emails, and delete emails. As mentioned earlier, the adventure does not stop here. With 4020R4, we are enhancing the Gmail command set with 2 powerful extensions. The first one is the simultaneous retrieval of multiple emails. It will optimize the time it takes to retrieve multiple emails in a single command. And the second is the efficient management of Gmail labels. So it will streamline your mailbox organization by creating, deleting, updating Gmail labels directly from your 4D application. So these improvements will enable you to interact more efficiently with your Gmail emails, your Gmail mailboxes within your 4D application. So I will enter a little bit more in details about these 2 new features. Here with a clip of the the demo that you can find in our blog post. So let's start with label management. Unlike traditional folders that you will find, for example, with Microsoft Outlook, Gmail uses labels to organize your messages. These labels, they offer a significant advantage because the same email can be associated with multiple labels simultaneously. For example, an important email regarding your vacation plans can be classified under both the important label and also a specific vacation label. This is quite different from a folder organization, in fact, where an email can only be in one single folder. So this is how Google works with mail. Let's proceed. Label management allows you to assign and remove existing labels. So in the Google world, you have user-defined labels or system-defined labels. The system-defined labels are here, whatever you do, and they are typical labels like inbox, spam, trash, enrich, start, or important. But you can, of course, create and manage your own custom-made, tailor-made labels. So the update function allows you modification of the labels associated with a message. And 4020R4 provides a comprehensive set of commands for programmatically managing Gmail labels. So those commands are create labels, retrieve labels, modify labels, delete labels. It's as simple as that. With these commands, you can automate the categorization and the management of your emails, thereby optimizing the organization and information retrieval in your Gmail inbox. Let's proceed with the second feature, the downloading of multiple emails. Now, in fact, you can download up to 100 emails simultaneously using a single call to the get mails function. And if you need to retrieve more emails, well, just call this function multiple times. You have the example right here or right in the blog post. Let's go. And that's it for new developer features. And let's check out our Q&A section with one question. It's a question about Fortinet Kit. I would like to be able to close programmatically the web windows opened by the command auth2.getOpen. Okay, I managed to do it by using the JavaScript command Windows close. Okay, I understand what you want to do. I don't have the precise answer for this. Maybe you can, I don't know if someone in the team can check this out, but Fabrice, the person in charge, is on holiday, so perhaps we can keep this for later. What is sure is that there are new features coming about this specific point. I don't know if they will solve your exact problem, in fact. So mm, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. Anyway, for this kind of topic, I know on the forum a lot of people are using for the NetKit, so they might have the answer. On this specific point, I'm not sure that it is easy to do.
Yes, Mathieu, I just saved the question and I will forward it to Fabrice and he will get back with an answer.
Yeah. Perfect. But anyway, there is something coming about this precise authentication part. So you will probably be interested by it. It's not exactly the point to mention, but perhaps it will be of interest for you. Okay. I don't think we have other questions. Thank you. And well, if we don't have more questions, we can proceed. Anyway, if something comes into your mind, no big deal. You can use our Q&A section. We are now moving to the second part of this webinar dedicated to for the Right Pro, and I give the microphone to Intissar. So let's go.
Thank you, Mathieu. And let's get started with an exciting topic, which is actually electronic invoicing. So electronic B2B invoicing will become mandatory in France and other countries in the coming years. So this change actually poses a challenge for many businesses. Fortunately, 4D is here to assist you smoothly through this digital transition. So this on-screen example is available in the blog post where you will find the implementation details. It demonstrates how to create an electronic invoice. That is actually what is an electronic invoice. It's a PDF document with valid XML attached to it. So the demonstration provides two invoice templates in French and German. And for demonstration purposes, the invoice items are provided in JSON format, but of course you can obtain them from your database. We then use this JSON data as the context associated with the 4D Right Pro document template. And you probably know that 4D Right Pro easily allow you creating document templates, such as an invoice, and associated with a data context. And the next step is to generate an XML file according to the correct standard. And finally, the last step of this demonstration is to export the electronic invoice, meaning the PDF, including the generated XML file. So that's it for the Right Pro. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, it's always hard to show an electronic invoice because it's just a PDF. So you have it on screen, but it's always hard to display in the demo. So we don't have question for now. Electronic invoices will become mandatory very soon. So using 4D20R4, it's the good time for all of you to start your work on that, especially if you're operating in Europe.
Yeah.
We have a question for Italy. When will it become mandatory? I'm not sure about it. I know approximately that in France it will be 2026. In Germany a little bit sooner. I'm not aware about Italy, but I know that that Europe has plans about it. Perhaps you can check out your government website about that. Not sure.
Yeah, we have Pat asking if that's all for Right Pro. I guess we have another feature in R4, which is the the export to PDF with attachments, right, Roland? Yeah, for the R4, we have two features for the right.
There's a small of a feature, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, you want electronic invoices. It's already a big topic. You will see with R5 that there are other features. Of course, we're continuing constantly improving our product, but yeah. Perhaps in some countries, electronic invoices is not a big deal right now. All right.
Okay.
We can proceed maybe.
Yeah, for the View Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but meanwhile, if you have any more questions, please feel free to keep them coming. So now with 4D View Pro, you can control many elements programmatically, allowing you to design complete workflows. And in this new version, we've added a few small but really useful features. So starting with the first one, actually displaying, editing, and debugging long and complex formulas can sometimes be difficult. So let's take the following example. We want to display a value in cell B2 based on the value in A1. To do this, we use an if formula. So in this simple case, the formula remains understandable. However, as if formulas accumulate, it becomes difficult to follow which condition applies when. The new formula editor panel greatly improves readability, as you can see. This new component offers the following features. The first feature is improved formatting. Long and complex formulas can be formatted on multiple lines with appropriate indentation and nesting, making them easier to read. Toggle formula sections, it's possible to collapse and expand specific sections of the formula for easier navigation. We have assisted input. Entering formulas is simplified with suggestions for functions, user-defined names, and enumerated parameters. We have tooltips that contain information about functions, are displayed when the user hovers over function name or type it. We have error detection and live testing. As we have just seen, changes made to formulas can be tested directly. And then we improved the support for pivot tables by adding subtotal option for individual fields. Yeah, so previously you had to change the position of the subtotal at the bottom of each field. Now you can change the position for the individual fields, as you can see in this video. Now. Okay. And while we are on the subject of calculation, 4D View Pro now supports manual calculations. So if this option is activated, formulas, no, it's not this video.
Yeah, it is. It is. Right, look, it is.
No.
If this option is formulas are not calculated automatically.
Yes. Okay, so it's the right video. Okay. So instead, formulas are only calculated when they are edited or when a new formula is entered. So all cells are calculated automatically if the relevant cells have been changed. And when calculated manually, only cells that have been changed directly are calculated. Cells that refer to a changed cell are not calculated. And we have added the ability to click on another sheet tab while editing formula to reference cells in other worksheets. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Lot of videos.
Yes, with 4D View Pro, a lot of features, small but interesting features. And what else do we have? Yeah, so we have the show zero, display zero, password protected worksheets, cell default value property, and insert cut cells for tables. And we have a video that shows these features. So sometimes a worksheet might contain formulas that result in zero in a cell, and a user might not want the value to be displayed in these cells. To support this, we have added the show zero option, which can be enabled to show zero values in cells and disabled to show the cell value as blank. A nice feature, as you can see for professional sheets, is to protect worksheets with a password. You can set password for specific sheets or the entire workbook, which is exactly the same functionality as Excel. Yeah, re-enter the password.
That's it, it's protected.
Yeah, and protect, yeah. And now we have the ability to set the default value for a cell, as you can see. You can set any value or formula as the default value for a cell. This is then used if no value has been entered. Okay, here you go. And the last feature, which is the use of tables, yeah, has also been expanded. So the passing of copied or cut cells outside a table area is already supported. With this version, copied and cut cells can be passed into a table. And finally, the designer's update. So we've added theme, color, and font buttons to the designer that allow you to change themes or color sets to affect all shapes, charts, and built-in cell styles that reference those theme colors. So as you can see from version to version, the Spree.js team continues to find small but really nice things that make 4D View Pro even better and more user-friendly. And as we can see from conversations and numbers, there are actually more and more 4D developers offering 4D View Pro to their customers, which is really nice. So let's move on to questions.
Yeah. No question. Everything is crystal clear. We'll wait a little bit. I don't like silences, so we are going to proceed. Don't forget to ask your questions anyway, even if it's on a previous part of the presentation, or even if it's a question that has no relation with the current presentation. If you have a whatever question, please feel free. We'll try to answer. Let's continue. Let's move on to Qodly. Qodly's journey, of course, continues with 4020R4. Although we are currently still in the developer's preview phase, each silver partner already has the opportunity to test the new features. Your feedback is particularly valuable and eagerly awaited, and it's already very, very positive. We are really glad to from the feedback we already have at this moment. So here are some of the improvements we've made to Qodly Studio with 4020R4. First point is the support of Variadic Fonctions in the studio. If you remember the last webinar, a Variadic function is a function that supports a variable amount of parameters. So now they are supported in the event editor of Qodly Studio. it will detect that a function prototype makes it variadic, and you will be able to add as many parameters as you need, in fact. So this is the first evolution. Also, an interesting point for user experience, a progress bar is now visible when charging a page, when updating page data, or executing any REST queries. In fact, this improves the user experience when using a Qodly application on the runtime part, I mean. So every time some data needs to be refreshed or some REST queries are executed, you will get this progress bar. We wanted it to be discrete, and of course you can adapt it to your need using a CSS of yours. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can change the color, and so on. Basically, it comes with a, let's say, Qodly layout, and it will by default be let's say active in your Qodly application. I mean, if you were using Qodly with 20R3, switching to 40R4 will make this progress bar appear. So if you don't like it, you can make it just disappear, but it's proven to be quite efficient in informing the user that something is happening, in fact. That's not the only improvement. About components, the text input component has been quite improved. It benefits from now the multi-line text option, so you can enter texts on various lines. It was not possible before. There's a new input, let's say, control for duration. So here you can set up a duration of 56 hours, 10 minutes, and 10 seconds here. You just have to specify that your text input has a duration format, and it will appear like that. And the last option is that there's a read-only mode now for text inputs and for sliders. Yeah. Let's continue with various Qodly Studio UI enhancements. So the event cards are now foldable, so this avoids them to take too much space in the event area. So they can be folded and unfolded. You now have a feature that allows you to remove unused CSS classes or namespaces or data sources. This is when you spend quite some time working on a specific form. You have some elements that you are not using anymore. You just want to clean them. You have one button and they are cleaned. And the last point is a preview mode tabs. So this is inspired by VS Code. Let's suppose you open a form or you open a class or a piece of code. When you open it, it will appear in a preview tab. The name of the asset will be displayed in italic. Here you can see it in the screenshot. And if you just read it, you don't modify it. Once you open another asset, another piece of code, another form, it will just replace this tab. This avoids you to get dozens of tabs opened in your Qodly Studio. Of course, if you start to modify it, the tab will remain until you close it. So if you're annoyed by this kind of behavior, it can be deactivated in Qodly Studio settings, but it's proven to be very useful to avoid having, as I said, a lot of tabs that are open. So that's it for Qodly Studio. And just for you to be informed, we are, of course, in a heavy phase of improvements for Qodly Studio, and just wait for the 20R5. We have a very high amount of new features for Qodly Studio, so stay tuned for that. And that's it. Maybe we can have some other questions. There was a question about 4D Write Pro text wrapping around pictures and text boxes. Yes, Vanessa answered that. It is not in R4. It's in 4D 20 R5, which is currently in beta. Yes, here we are in the R4 webinar, which is the feature release, the version of 4D that we just released as out of beta. In fact, as a final release. So 4D 20 R5 is still in beta phase for now. And if you check it out, it has a lot of very big features. This is, as we deliver a new version every 3 months, sometimes some versions are smaller than others. And 4D 20 R5 is one of the big 4D release. So we'll see that in the next webinar. It will be much longer than this one. We don't have any other question. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. We don't have other question. We don't have. We will continue. We are reaching the end of the presentation, so so there's a question about Qodly. Can the widget read-only status be toggled at runtime? No, it cannot. No, it cannot, but it will be. It will be quite soon. We are preparing an astonishing feature to be able to control that kind of thing. Stay tuned for this. It won't be in R5. It will be a little bit later. We are in QA phase for a very nice feature that will allow you that kind of thing, in fact. So it's not, I don't ask you for this one to request a feature in our forum because it's already being done. You will find all these features and much more on our 4D blog. And speaking about the blog, I'm not finished. The 4D blog is getting a nice update to make it easier for you to find information. Of course, the blog has become a very, very popular resource for 4D customers, for 4D developers. But with so many posts, so many content, it has become, with time, difficult for you to find out what you're looking for. So this new update adds a category section to the blog. These categories will help you narrow down your search and find the information you need much more quickly. There are both major and minor categories, so you can drill down to the specific topic you're interested in. For example, if you're looking for ORDA tutorials, you can now click on the ORDA category and then on the tutorial subcategory. This will show you all the blog posts that have been written on this particular area. This update will make 4D blog a much more valuable resource for you and for your customers. So that's it. We have a last minute question. Will there be demos, how to, an example for Qodly? Yes, there will be, and there are already. If you check out our blog post, our existing blog post for Qodly, you will find some examples. Usually all the code is shared in GitHub. And you will find them right away. Yeah, and we will of course provide much more examples. Well, of course, your feedback is important. You will receive a small email where you can give us your feedback about this session. And if we don't have more questions, well, I propose you to see you in 3 months, and I guarantee you in 3 months you will be astonished by the whole lot of features that we will be releasing then with 4D 20 R5, but get ready and you can already use 4D 20 R4 already. So
Thank you all.
Wish you a pleasant day. I don't know if it's evening or morning for you, but for us it's afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Thank you.